You and Virat captained New Zealand and India in the Under-19 World Cup semi-final. Do you remember any of that game, and would you have envisaged that you two would be here today?
Yeah, I actually hadn't thought about that at all. So I guess that's kind of cool, isn't it? That, a few years later, we're here again, perhaps on a slightly different stage, but pretty special in a lot of respects to be able to lead your country out in a semi-final on the biggest stage. But I know both sides, without a doubt, are looking forward to getting into the challenge, and it's a really exciting opportunity.
Apparently, he got you out that day as well. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. Well, tell me how.
I haven't actually seen the video.
He used to be an all-rounder, I think, back in the day, but hasn't bowled as much recently. Yep.
Kane, how would you sum up the performance of your bowling attack so far, and what's your impression of the Indian attack?
Our attacks perform really well on a real variety of surfaces where taking pace off has been really important, certainly on the round robin stages on the surfaces that we were on. So they've adapted superbly, and we'll need to do that again coming into this next match and assess conditions as quickly as possible. And the Indian bowling attack is an outstanding bowling attack, with certainly a lot of world-class operators in there. As a side, they're very well balanced with a lot of high-quality players, but it's one of those, I guess, occasions where every team's worked so hard to end up in the last four, where to a certain extent it all starts again, where the day comes and anything can happen, and all sides have beaten one another on a number of occasions throughout the last few years. So it's a really exciting opportunity for all teams.
Yeah, just going back to your encounters with Virat in youth cricket, what are your first memories of him? And did he obviously stand out even then?
Yeah. He was a formidable player. Growing up, I know it seems odd to say because we were the same age, playing against each other and on a number of occasions, and then to go into international cricket, at a sort of a youngish age, and then IPL and all these different sorts of things. So it's been, it's obviously been a pleasure watching Virat play and evolve into the superstar that he is.
Kane, you've obviously had a wonderful tournament with the bat, but some of the others, I'm talking about Guptill, Taylor, Latham, maybe probably haven't produced the volume of runs that we're used to seeing from them, in between World Cups. Why do you think that has been, and how important is it that they take a bit of pressure off you tomorrow against a great attack?
Yeah, I think for everybody that it sort of starts fresh tomorrow after what was a very tough round robin stage, and we were certainly expecting that it would be tough, but I think what we didn't quite expect coming into the tournament was the large variety of conditions that we faced that definitely made perhaps batting with any rhythm a real challenge for everybody. So being able to adapt with the bat and just try and contribute to what would be a competitive total if you're batting first, or obviously chasing a score down is certainly what's the most important thing. And I know the guys' mindsets will definitely be that going into tomorrow's match, and we'll have to assess conditions again. But a lot of surfaces in our we do gives us the best chance.
Kane, your bowlers have not dismissed and not taken all 10 wickets since the South Africa game. So is that a concern, or you're more or less happy with the way the bowlers have kept a tight leash on the runs?
Yeah, I think the bowlers have been brilliant throughout this whole campaign, and I think we know in cricket that every day is different. Some days are certainly better than others, and just trying to adapt as a unit as best you can is definitely the most important thing. And by and large, they've done that outstandingly well. And I think we've seen conditions change from first innings to second innings on some occasions that's been quite considerable, and so how guys have had to operate even in the start of their innings and then moving into the second half of your bowling innings, it's had to be quite different. So by and large they've been superb throughout, but we know we've got a different challenge, another challenge coming up tomorrow, and that's of obviously a different side but different conditions again.
Kane, do you have a specific area in the game where you think it'd be won and lost?
Not particularly. That's definitely an unknown, but for us, certainly from our perspective, it's about the cricket that we want to play, and if we are able to do that to the best of our abilities, then we know that we can beat anybody. And I mentioned earlier that every side in this top four has beaten each other on a number of occasions. No side's gone through the comp unbeaten, so there are a lot of parts to it that make this top four really exciting. And although we've qualified fourth, we've got equal opportunity as anybody else to. Well, there's only 2 games left in the tournament, so going into the tournament with every team having 9 run robin, we knew that on any day, whether that was the team ranked lower than the team ranked higher, that anybody could beat anybody, and we saw on a number of occasions that happen. But it's not a focus for us. Our focus, once again, is committing to the cricket and the style of cricket that we want to play that gives us the best chance.
Kane, you've said just now about playing with freedom. When you're up against India, and there are always 1 or 2 cameras following India, there's a level of attention that just goes up a notch whenever it's India are playing. I wonder if, in a sense, that allows the opponent, whoever it is, to actually play with a bit more freedom, because you almost, maybe any team feels like an underdog when you're up against India.
Yeah, and I guess there's truth in that India are a very successful side and very popular side with a large population and a lot of cameras, which is great. They bring so much to the sport that we're fortunate to be a part of. But it is a cricket match. You do try and simplify things as best you can as a team, and it does come back to the cricket that we want to play, and not too reliant on the external factors, so how we adapt to conditions, and that is the most important thing. You get to the last 4 semi-final, each side's going to want to be putting each other under pressure, and we know when that happens, the bit next can be a real challenge. So both sides will be looking to do that.
Hi, Ken. Virat was saying earlier in his press conference that you and Ross are the key wickets. Do you look at it like that? I mean, how do you assess being like the focal point of the New Zealand batting lineup?
No, I don't really look at it like that. I look at my role as a role, and it's one of 11 guys that do try and play their role to the best of their ability. And there's so many guys that have had significant contributions over the last few years that have gone a long way for us to win cricket matches, and we all have that same opportunity going into tomorrow, where after a very busy and fairly long round robin series, it's important that guys almost take that fresh mindset going into tomorrow with a really exciting opportunity in front of them.
Yeah. At this level, each and every team prepares almost same, and work ethics and class is almost same. Do you think that it boils down to one thing, playing under pressure?
Yeah, it's hard to pinpoint one thing that stands out as being perhaps the be-all and end-all, but I suppose both sides, every side in international cricket trains as hard as they can to give themselves the best opportunity on the day, and often in those small moments pressure arises and can be a big play, and if you do get that momentum, then that can be really important, certainly in white ball cricket. So yeah, it does play a part, but there's probably a lot of parts around it that you want to address so you can handle those smaller moments as best you can.
Kane, does it fire you and the team up that many people are writing you off before the ball's bowled, that India's quite big favourites for many people?
Sorry, I would. I don't know if fired up's the right term. It's we're in the top 4 now, and I think if we're reflecting back on the round robin, we definitely deserve to be here, and that's reflected in the standings. we had a couple of tough losses coming into this part of the tournament, but we do need to look at those for what they were, and there are a lot of factors there that were stiff challenges, not just the opposition, but conditions as well, and trying to adapt to those as best you can is the most important thing. So whether we're underdogs or not, it kind of doesn't really matter. It is about how we turn up tomorrow and look to commit to the plans that we want to implement and try and go out and play with that freedom, because I mentioned earlier that every side has beaten one another on a number of occasions. It is a semi-final. There's perhaps a few more external parts to this match that are a little bit different from others, but I think the team that goes out and has that approach, sticks to their plans as best they can, then does give themselves the best chance to win the cricket match.
Kane, up until, I guess, less than 48 hours ago, you guys may be mentally thinking you were facing Australia in the semis. Does the kind of late switch of opponent, to use a better phrase, does that help you guys and give you less pressure rather than playing a kind of trans-Tasman game where the focus may have been quite intense?
No, I think regardless, it's a semi-final of a World Cup, and whoever you play, it's going to be a tough match. Top 4 teams have managed to get through, obviously playing some good cricket along the way, and we know that we're in for a tough battle, which is great, and it's to be expected. And whoever you play, I think every side has the belief that you get to this point that they can go all the way, and to do that, you need to basically beat everybody. So whoever the team is, it comes back to us in terms of the side we have and what cricket we want to play, and hanging our hat on that. And if we are able to do that, then who knows what the future holds for us.
Kane, you just spoke about your attack exploiting, the change of pace and bowling cutters on wickets. How would that change on a fresh wicket in a knockout? And have you actually had a chance to look at the pitch, and what did you make of it? Yeah,
I haven't actually seen the pitch just yet, but obviously we'll have a look fairly shortly. How that will change, I'll only know until we see the pitch, but without a doubt it will change. So it is important we do look to adapt quickly like we have done on other surfaces with bat and ball.
I can, in the last few months, if there was a bowling unit that had reduced Indian top order to 18 for 3 or 18 for 4, it's been New Zealand. Even in the warm-up game, we saw that what New Zealand can do. There's a bit of a rain threat around as well. How do you see the New Zealand fast bowlers targeting the Indian batsman to the moving ball? Do you think there's a bit of a weakness there in the Indian top order where under helpful conditions, your fast bowlers can exploit their top order and expose their middle order?
Conditions are a big part of that question, and on the ones that we have been successful in that respect, we've been able to exploit those conditions. And I think you come up against any opposition with the ball is moving, whether it's off the surface or in the air, then you do have the opportunity to take early wickets, and I think everybody goes into the game with a desire to do that. We will have to wait and see what the surface holds for us, but as a bowling unit, the guys will be certainly trying their best to try and take early wickets on whatever surface that we're dealt with, because we know that it is very important. Obviously India have a very good batting lineup, so you do need to try and dismiss them in order to keep either a total low to chase, or whether that's batting first and defending.
Kane, the batting reliance on you at various points throughout this tournament, is there ever a sense that that's a burden, or is it something that you relish, just so much that so much of the team's fate seemingly rests with you?
No, I think there's also been a number of other contributions that have been really important in order for us to get to where we are right now. Whether that's a lower score in terms of an individual, it's still been very significant for us chasing totals down, which we've done well in the earlier stages of this competition. And from my perspective, it's going out trying to play my role as best I can to help move the team forward, and that doesn't change going into tomorrow. And you're always wanting to contribute more. You never sort of put a number on it, but that's, I suppose, why we all practice as hard as we can to try and make those contributions bigger and better.
Just finally from me, Kane, what's your plan to bring down Rohit Sharma?
There's a lot of parts to that, and as a bowling unit, first and foremost, it's assessing conditions. Rohit's been clearly the standout batter in this tournament so far, and been batting beautifully. But as we know, we come into a semi-final. It's another day where both sides will be trying to adjust to the conditions as quickly as possible, and both teams will be looking for early wickets, regardless of what their name may be. But without a doubt, he's been superb throughout the tournament.
Thanks so much, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.